Hello, today we are reading from the Republic of Plato, translated by Alan Bloom, and we are reading Book 7, and today we'll be reading sections 521 and 522. "That's the way it is, my comrade," I said. "If you discover a life better than ruling for those who are going to rule, it is possible that your well-governed city will come into being. For here alone will the really rich rule, rich not in gold, but in those riches required by the happy man, rich in a good and prudent life. But if beggars, men hungering for want of private goods, go to public affairs supposing that in them they must seize the good, it isn't possible. When ruling becomes a thing fought over, such a war, a domestic war, one within the family, destroys these men themselves and the rest of the city as well." "That's very true," he said. "Have you," I said, "any other life that despises political offices other than that of true philosophy?" "No, by Zeus," he said, "I don't. But men who aren't lovers of ruling must go to it, otherwise rival lovers will fight." "Of course. Who else will you compel to go to the guarding of the city than the men who are most prudent in those things through which a city is best governed, and who have other honors and a better life than the political life? No one else," he said. "Do you want us now to consider in what way such men will come into being, and how one will lead them up to the light, just as some men are said to have gone from Hades up to the gods?" "How could I not want to?" he said. "Then, as it seems, this wouldn't be the twirling of a shell, but the turning of a soul around from a day that is like night to the true day. It is that ascent to what is which we shall truly affirm to be philosophy." "Most certainly." "Then mustn't we consider what studies have such a power?" "Of course. What then, Glaucon, would be a study to draw the soul from becoming to being? And as I speak, I think of this. Weren't we saying that it's necessary for these men to be champions in war when they are young?" "Yes, we were saying that." "Then the study we are seeking must have this further characteristic in addition to the former one." "What?" "It mustn't be useless to warlike men." "Of course it mustn't," he said, "if that can be. Now previously they were educated by us in gymnastic and music." "That was so," he said. "And gymnastic, of course, is wholly engaged with coming into being and passing away, for it oversees growth and decay in the body." "It looked that way." "So it wouldn't be the study we are seeking." "No, it wouldn't. And is music so far as we described it before. But it," he said, "was the antistrophe to gymnastic. If you remember, it educated the guardians through habits, transmitting by harmony a certain harmoniousness, not knowledge, and by rhythm a certain rhythmicalness. And connected with it were certain other habits akin to these, conveyed by speeches, whether they were tales or speeches of a truer sort. But as for a study directed towards something of the sort you are now seeking, there was nothing of the kind in it." "Your reminder to me is quite precise," I said, "for really, it had nothing of the sort. But Glaucon, you demonic man, what could there be that is like this? For all the arts surely seem to be mechanical." "Certainly they were, and yet, what other study is left, now separate from music, gymnastic, and the arts?" "Come then," I said, "if we have nothing left to take besides these, let's take something that applies to them all." "What kind of thing?" "For example, this common thing that all kinds of art, thought, and knowledge use as a supplement to themselves, a thing that is necessary for everyone to learn among his first studies." "What's that?" he said. "The lowly business," I said, "of distinguishing the one, the two, and the three. I mean by this, succinctly, number and calculation. Or isn't it the case with them that every kind of art and knowledge is compelled to participate in them?" "Very much so," he said. "The art of war too?" I said. "Most necessarily," he said. "At all events," I said, "in the tragedies, Palamedes is constantly showing up Agamemnon as a most ridiculous general, Or haven't you noticed that he says that by discovering number, he established the dispositions for the army of Ilium and counted the ships and everything else as though before they were uncounted, and Agamemnon didn't know how many feet he had, if he really didn't know how to count. And if this is the case, what kind of general do you suppose he was? A strange one, he said, if this was true. Shall we not then, I said, set down as a study necessary for a warrior the ability to calculate and to number? Most of all, he said, if he's going to have any professional knowledge of the order of the army, but I should say rather, if he's going to be a human being. Do you, I said, notice the same thing I do in this study? What? Thank you for listening to this reading today.